Hello and welcome to Irish Football Fan TV. We're here in studio to preview Ireland's huge game on Saturday night in the Aviva Stadium. Huge qualifying match in the World Cup qualifiers for Ireland. Lads, we're joined in studio today by, as always, Paul, and by a fan. Furlough, introduce yourself.
Thanks very much. My name's Eric, or you can call me Furlough, either or. Thanks very much for having me. I'm looking forward to it.
Great to have you in. Paul, I'll start with you, I suppose. You were at the press conference during the week. What was the kind of overall sort of feeling around the camp? Any takeaways from that?
Ozzy Ogbene's press conference is a must watch for, I think, anyone. Really positive, real change in his attitude and everything like that, just in terms of his mindset and stuff like that. So he seems to be absolutely buzzing. Hamer seemed to be quite positive as well. He seems to think that the squad is in a really good place, and a lot of them were kind of going on about the tempo of how training is, and the energy is as good as they've seen it. I think Ogbene said that as well. So there seems to be a really good vibe around the camp. I know Caoimhín Kelleher's press conference was a bit of a dampener compared to some of the other ones, but Ryan Manning seemed to be, he's obviously in good form as well. He seems to fancy himself if a free kick comes to fruition around the edge of their box. And who was the other one? Bosun Lowell as well. Yeah, he seemed to be quite confident as well that he might get some minutes. So look, I think this is as good a squad we could have got. I think we're sitting on the car coming over here, or in the car, sorry. Driving on the car. But no, we were coming over obviously, and we were discussing that, and we were saying how much we think this squad, I can't think of too many who you'd take out of the squad and replace, maybe Festy somewhere along the lines there. But I think it's a good opportunity for a Casey McAteer, an Ogbene, or whatever. We obviously know that Ogbene's been a big player for us over the years, so he's hoping to continue that.
Yeah, Furlough, this is going to be difficult opposition. We kind of pinpointed this match when the draw was made. Looking at this group with Armenia and Portugal, Hungary is probably the ones that we're up against, to qualify. I'd agree with Paul. I think I'm really confident with this squad, but bit of a dampener having Troy Parrott knocked out the squad through injury, and obviously Robbie Brady a couple of weeks ago being confirmed out of the squad. What are your kind of confidence levels coming into this?
Fairly well now, to be honest. Looking at the squad, I sort of agree. There is no one really that I would think should be left out. I'm a bit disappointed Josh Honan didn't get involved as a Rovers fan, but to be honest, I was looking at it and I don't know who he would replace. Even though he's in flying form, 2 goals, 1 assist in his last few games, there's not really many people you can take out of that squad to fit him in, and it's disappointing, but sure, that's just the way it goes.
Just on that, with left back being a kind of hole in the squad, I suppose if there is any hole, it would be left back. Brady's been so good for us. He was our player of the year last year. Maybe a chance to bring in Josh Honan, like you said, but are you happy enough with Liam Scales or Ryan Manning or whoever it may be? Who would you choose out of them two?
No, absolutely. To be honest, naturally I'd say Ryan Manning, natural left foot, obviously doing it week in, week out with Southampton as well. Liam Scales, solid shout, rolled his ankle during the week, so he is sort of carrying that bit of an injury. Hopefully it doesn't transpire. He's back in training today, so it'll be a toss up between the two, to be honest. But I would say Ryan Manning just for the natural ability on the left foot.
And Paul, those are 2 big important players for Ireland that we are missing. What are your confidence levels coming into this?
Confidence levels, I'm not really not confident in the defence. I would say we have a pretty good core of defenders there. You look at the job that Jake O'Brien's done for Everton at right back. Dave Moyes has almost made a point that he will be the right back for Everton this year. He's just a centre back playing right back. I think Scales could do that, playing left back for Ireland. I think he's a safer option than Ryan Manning. I don't think I trust Ryan Manning in that position. I think he does like to get forward, and can maybe sometimes get caught on the counter attack. That's the only worry that I have about him. But I also think that there's an element of that he's in good form. He could be a threat, scoring a free kick or something like that. Not Szoboszlai's level, but he could be an important threat for us. So I could see Hamer going either or there. My preference probably on this occasion, considering how big of a game it is, I would probably say Scales. But that's why I was going to come on to Honahan as well. This game would have been way too big of a game to bring Honahan in for, as good as he's been and everything like that. And I'm delighted Rovers didn't accept a bid from Lincoln, as I actually think that would have been a step down. He'll get more, a good run in Europe would actually do him well. to then maybe say, all right, well, if he's still scoring in Europe and he's doing that, then you can't really deny him the fact, because there's other players that obviously scoring goals in Europe in the Conference League, like Troy and stuff like that, who obviously he did it last year in the Europa League as well. But it's obviously not about goals for Honohan to be about you playing in that position, but he's done it so well at Shamrock Rovers. But I do think Liam Scales also was a player who Stephen Bradley had playing in that left wing back position before as well, and he was outstanding, and that's how he got his move in the end to Celtic. So I know he doesn't play there every single week. He is moved into centre back, but in terms of this game, and we need to be solid and we need to have defenders, I would just edge it with Scales. He was back in training today. He looked like he was enjoying himself. So I would just edge it on Scales. But look, as I said, I wouldn't be up in arms if Manning was the one that he come. Who would you choose?
Yeah, look, I don't think it's ideal at all. Like, I know Hamer does like Ryan Manning, but he did play him in sort of a more advanced role, that left wing with Robbie Brady and behind him in games gone by. Having said that, he clearly does like him. I'd probably agree with you, Paul. I'd say Scales in such a big game like this, you just feel a bit more comfortable with him.
You think of him in Old Firm games, and
yeah.
So he has that experience now, like, you know.
Yeah, having said that, I do like him far more as a centre back, but you know, like you said, it's not a perfect situation. We kind of have to make do with what we have. We'll come on and kind of look at the bigger context of this match in a bit, but just as far as the lineup goes, we'll finish up on this. Troy Parrott, I mentioned him. He's out. Looks like he's going to be out for next month's window as well, unfortunately. But you're wearing his jersey, Paul. Evan Ferguson seems like he's going to slot right into that role up front. How confident are you in him slotting straight into that forward line?
Well, see, the thing that's always been the case with Evan is he's always been in good club form, and then he gets injured or something happens and he's missed out on Ireland camps. This is probably the first time in a long time, probably since he broke through, that he's coming in good form. I know he hasn't been scoring, but he's been affecting games, assists well, and stuff like that. He obviously had a really good pre-season. He looks sharp. Gasparini seems to be doing a really good job with him, and I think Hamer said as well, you can see that already the effects of how well he's been kind of doing at Roma. And look, you know, we spoke about Troy previously doing well at Alkmaar, and he took that form into Ireland games. We'd hope that Evan can do the same. But we also said as well, like, we never really had a worry about Evan when he came into Ireland, because he was still scoring for Ireland, strangely enough. But it's always nicer to have him coming in looking fitter, sharper, because he always looks like he's been trying to get fitness while playing for Ireland, because he wasn't getting it, say, at West Ham or whatever last season. So I think it's going to be great to see him, and I think he's going to be our biggest threat. So I think whoever it is playing out wide, whether it's Casey McAteer, Ogbene, Johnston, Manning, whoever it is, we need to be getting balls into the box to feed Ferguson. He needs good quality service, and we know that he'll put the ball in the back of the net, but we also need players like Finn Azaz to get around him like he did in what game was that? The
Bulgaria game?
Yeah, sorry, where he held the ball at the edge of the box. We just need that composure in the final third, and someone to be able to find Ferguson as well. I think he could be the perfect dance partner for Ferguson. I think Finn Azaz as well, just to be the one who feeds him. Yeah,
I agree. They look really good, especially in that match, and they look like they work well together. For Evan Ferguson coming into this forward line, a lot of people were actually saying, like, aside from Troy Parrott's form, great goal scoring form to start this season, that they still would have put Evan Ferguson in, that they think he's just like the naturally best player in this squad. Not so sure I agree with that, but I still think Evan Ferguson's a great player and he slots greatly into this forward line. What do you think?
Yeah, ideally, to be honest, I would like Troy Parrott and Evan Ferguson to sort of work off each other. I think they're two different players that kind of complement each other. They're both workhorses, they both have the ability to finish, and if they could just find that partnership, that's kind of why I was just thinking with like Ryan Manning at left back, for example, with Troy Parrott being out, Evan Ferguson is a strong presence in the box, and with Manning's delivery on that left foot from that left side, I think it'll be a bit better than Scales, and that's my thinking with Parrott being out, trying to get it in on the head onto Evan Ferguson. That'll just be
the only thing to counteract that though is Scales is very good in the air as well. So you have that threat too. So I totally hear where you're coming from, but just to add that in, Scales is very good from set pieces as well. So that's the only thing I would say.
Another thing with the forward line, like I know Troy Parrott is out, but you bring back in Sammy Smodics and Chidozie Ogbene.
You forget about Smodics as well.
Exactly. Yeah. So that kind of bolsters that attack as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Smodic coming back into form. Obviously Ogbene being out, but getting that boost with the transfer over to
Sheffield,
to Sheffield. So Hopefully he brings that in with him as well. He was saying that it has been a bit of a boost for him as well. The mentality is good. So look, it's going to be interesting. The only real part of the pitch I was worried about when I saw the lineup was the midfield. I just thought it was lacking depth. But to be honest, in terms of attack and in terms of defence, I think we have our best players out there, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. Same. It's sort of we're doing the best with what we have, isn't it? Like,
do you think
just close Smallbone is the only one you could have said missed out on that midfield?
Do you think though, just on that, obviously look at the start Everton have made this season with Kieran Dewsbury Hall. Do you think we'll get anywhere with that? Because imagine him in that midfield.
Yeah,
I mean, it just brings the levels up straight away. Him and Azaz and maybe Josh Cullen. That's a really good three. Then you got
no doubt. It's hard to speculate about it, isn't it? We've been stung so many times by these,
But Hamer did name check him.
Yeah, as well as Louis Barry, who seems to be actually declaring for Ireland. So Hamer clearly not afraid to actually search for these players who are eligible. But
hopefully Agent Jake and Seamus can help that one.
Fingers crossed, he'd be a huge addition to the team, wouldn't he? But moving on to the opposition, look, Paul, this Hungary team is a strong team. Dominic Szoboszlai obviously scoring that cracker of a goal against Arsenal last week. You've still got Milos Kerkez, other players, experienced internationals, but they aren't in the best form. They've only one win in their last 6, and that's against Azerbaijan. Lost fairly comfortably against Sweden and Turkey. Turkey twice actually did get a draw against Germany in there, but maybe not in the best form, but definitely can't be coming into this game taking Hungary for granted.
Oh, definitely. I think they've qualified for the last 3 Euros as well in a row. So, I mean, you got to look at that as well. I know we beat them in a friendly or whatever, but I do think they're probably slightly better than us, but we're always better when we're the underdogs. I mean, I just based that off by the level of their players are playing. I mean, 2 of them are playing for the champions in the Premier League. And Szoboszlai now looks like the player that everyone thought he was going to be, because I think the last couple of seasons, people from Liverpool fans have kind of been saying, like, this isn't the player that we thought we bought. But now, obviously, I mean, you watched him against Arsenal the other day and he was absolutely unreal. So I remember saying in our WhatsApp, I was like, he looked really good today. So I would be very worried about Szoboszlai, and I'd also like hope that we're doing like a 2-man job on him and maybe Kerkez as well. But I do remember when we played France and Ogbenny done a great job with Seamus Coleman on Mbappe. But I'd say if we could get a bit of cover on that side for Kerkez as well, I mean, eliminate his threat. That would obviously help, but like, I mean, I'm not telling the manager how to defend players or whatever, but I mean, if we can manage to keep those 2 quiet, we have a really good chance. But I definitely won't be taking them lightly. I do think we need to score first, because I think if they score first, we won't know what to do, and we don't have the players to break them down. Whereas I think if we can manage to go a goal up and shut up shop, I think we're in a much better position where they have to break us down once we go ahead. But I think if we got a set piece goal or something to put us 1-up or something. I
get what you're saying. I do think, like, at the top end of their squad, it's obviously a higher level with Szoboszlai. And look, Kerkez is a good player. He's shown that in the past for Bournemouth, but I do think he can be got at, especially with some of our quicker players. I think we can be confident coming into this. I know you say we can't break them down, but I'd be really confident in that sort of Azaz and Ferguson link up players, whoever it might be, playing on the left and right. I'd be happy enough coming into this game, and definitely I think Szoboszlai is a player that we have to worry about. But I think we can do that, and we showed that when he was in that friendly. I know it's only a friendly, but as I remember, that was quite a competitive match throughout that game. I think both teams were having the right go in it. So I'd be really interested to see. For coming into this, like, talking about the opposition, they are strong. If Ireland are to win this game, what do you think the reasons are?
Defensive display, to be honest. A lot of it, like mentioning on the last 6 games for Turkey, I think they've only scored 3 goals or 4 goals in their last 6 games. 2 of them coming against Azerbaijan as well. So
they're not this like free flowing attacking team
exactly,
necessarily that we might think.
Exactly, even with Szoboszlai in the squad as well. Like, look, he is a threat, and obviously scored a screamer against Arsenal. But I just think with the defence that we have, like, we are good at sort of holding that shape. We just don't lose the head. The second we lose the head or lose concentration, that's when we get punished. But going on what you were saying, even about Ogbenny against France, like, I remember that game, like, not only I thought Ogbenny did a solid job in keeping Mbappe at bay, but he was also attacking Theo Hernandez. And I think he had Theo Hernandez on wheels, to be honest. Like, so if he can replicate that, again, is he going to start? He's been out for so long with injury, but
But someone like Benny going at a Kirk, as he's certainly like he's shown that he struggles against real direct wingers like that.
Yeah, well, that's it exactly. Outside of Ogbene, McAteer as well. Yeah, like he's not afraid to take someone on as well. Has the pace, has the legs. So, it will be interesting to see. Now it'll be a nice battle. On that right side.
I just think that we struggle to break teams down. Like if you ever watch our play, like our passed around the back, taking ages to try and get at someone. It goes out to Matt Doherty, then it goes back to a centre half. Then they're trying to recycle it around. I just think we're not very quick in the transition to try and get at teams, and that's why I think if we got a set piece goal and we just shut up shop, we've a much better chance of winning the game. I think.
Do you think that comes more from the midfield though, rather than that
the
ability to
not
transition?
The quality isn't obviously what it used to be when we used to have like Roy Keane and Matt Holland and these sort of players. You compare that to Josh Cullen. See, the thing is, after probably Josh Cullen, you don't know who's going to be in the midfield. Usually, you'd imagine it'd be Cullen, Knight, Azaz, and you'd be happy enough with that.
Yeah.
But Knight's best, I suppose, his best attribute is getting around the pitch. It's not being on the ball. Do you know what I mean? I don't say that in a negative way, because I'm a big fan of Jason Knight, but he's all action, all energy. He's not one keeping the ball and then he's kind of skins some fella and then shoot from long distance, because he just doesn't do that. He's better at kind of coming on the end of balls in the box, more so at club level. I can't even remember the last time he scored for Ireland, but like you think of him, and then I'm thinking, like, obviously I think Azaz is a level above. I do think he's got that quality in him, but it's just we just take ages to get the ball up and into positions and stuff like that, and then we get to a certain point, we don't know what to do, and we just go back.
Yeah,
a lot of the time, and that's why I'd like to see us take more risks. Maybe not so much on Saturday, but definitely against Armenia. It's a separate chat altogether. But I do think, like, I think our best way of scoring against these will be set pieces.
No doubt. Like, we're not the finished article yet, but I think definitely getting there. And
we are improving. Like, when I come back 5 years ago to what it was, like we are light years ahead of that. Yeah.
And in fairness to Josh Cullen, like, he's scored a goal and got an assist for Burnley so far in the Premier League this year. You think back to the assist he got for Matt Doherty's goal, was it, away in Bulgaria?
Yeah, we're watching it here.
It's an unreal pass, and like he's far more of a creative player than people give him credit for, I think. Not saying that he's like some Iniesta player in the midfield, but I think that we do have quality in this team in the midfield, although it might be a bit of a shallow team. Talking about being a bit more expansive against the likes of an Armenia, I'd just be like kind of, tunnel vision. Let's just get this result. Let's just get wins against both these teams and come out with 6 points. And coming on to that, like, a lot of discussion around this game is that this is a must win for this qualification campaign. Would you agree with that? Or would you say must not lose? What would you kind of set it at?
I think to set a precedent, it would be right to win it. I don't think it's must win because we have to play them again. But I mean, I think 4 points minimum is what we want from this window. Not 2 points, 4 points. If we got 6, well, I mean, what a start that would be. That would be unbelievable. And from this as a manager, you would think that that's what we're aiming for. From what Ogbene said, that's what we're aiming for, and Kelleher and stuff like that. So that seems to be the attitude of the group. But we've had hiccups and slip-ups in the past. It's international football. It's not a little walk in the park like people think it is. It's going to be difficult. But the only thing is, must not lose rather than must win, I think. And on that, then, if we can manage to get a draw or something like that, or come out of it unscathed, we then could go to Hungary and get the win like we did in Finland. How amazing would that be? And then it's just like Portugal. I don't know how they're going to go, but these 2 games in particular, because I think we have another chance of playing Hungary and maybe getting a result if it doesn't go our way this time, and we could potentially have more players back in the squad. But I think we have as good a chance to beat them as we ever will have this week, minus Troy Parrott. And Robbie Brady, I suppose, but we can't depend on Robbie Brady forever. I mean, he's getting on, same as Seamus Coleman.
Well, with the
must win.
Yeah. Well, like, to be honest with you, I think a point at the bare minimum. They sound like they're going out with the mentality of it's a must win, and to be honest, once they have that mentality, that's all you can really ask for. With the full house as well, sold out crowd, like, that surely will make that bit of a difference. Yeah. We do see, like, when's the last time we really had a proper sold out crowd? It will affect the form, because if the crowd can get behind, especially if we hold steady for the first 20 minutes, show some promising signs, it's only going to get louder, and it could end up frustrating the Hungary team. So I do think, look, it's at minimum a draw and a good performance rather than a barely scraping a draw and a bad performance. I think minimum 1 point and a great performance, but definitely has to go ahead and try and win the match.
Yeah, and just before I get your predictions on this game, it's a good
Tell
point.
us yours.
It's a good point you make, because it's the first time in a couple of years, I think, that I've felt this excited to go to a match. Like, there really is a big game feel to this one. What are the kind of excitement levels coming into this one?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I definitely feel like there's a lot of optimism. I hope that optimism killed on Saturday after a poor result or anything like that, but I remember going to games when I was a lot younger, and we had a really good team, and I used to be excited like this, going to games all the time. And then obviously the way things have been in the last, I would probably say 7 years, it's been hard trying to make content for the channel going into games knowing that we're barely competing. This time around, I feel like a lot of the players that obviously came through under Stephen Kenny, who are making their debuts and stuff like that, they're more experienced now. They're all kind of established at this stage. So I think we are in with a really good chance. I mean, you look at it this time around as well. Like, a lot of our players, our bigger players, have all been linked with good clubs this year. I maybe probably wouldn't say that about Kelleher because he went to Brentford, but like Collins was linked with Spurs and Liverpool and Man United. Obviously Ferguson was linked with so many, ended up at Roma, and Roma are a big club despite what anyone wants to say. So I think that shows the standard of our players have gone up. So I think the expectation will go up with that as well, with players that are doing well like that. So I think it's great. I think I love it, because I think having a buzz like that, going to the game and having something to be excited about, and actually at the end of it you potentially have a World Cup to go to. I mean, 2002, I was 12 or 11 or something like that, and that was one of the best periods of my life, and I was not old enough to appreciate what it was at the time. So to have that and potentially be going to America and something like that, there is a bit of a buzz. And look, when I used to go to games as well, there was an intimidation factor from our fans, and I think that's not really been there. But I do think since Hamish came in, there's been that connection again between the fans and the players, and that comes from winning games. Finland away was a big one, and then we're starting to beat teams that we should really beat. I'd hope to think that would be the case with Armenia, but I think when you start doing that, and then the manager goes over and he applauds the fans when you win, and you got that kind of sense of togetherness. And I felt it that night in Helsinki, that there was a shift in mentality. So I'm just hoping now that I know I've rambled. I'll let you talk now for a lot, but I'm glad to see it. Yeah,
I have goosebumps just thinking about it, to be honest. Even right now, like I can't remember the last time I got goosebumps thinking about an Ireland match, to be honest. Normally it shivers. Normally it's my stomach's a bit turning now. Like, but no, like I'm very excited to see it. I feel like we're going in the right direction. Actually, going back on the last question, is a must win. Points wise, I don't think so. But to keep the fans on board, sold out crowd if we lose at home, and there is such this buzz. When there's a big high, there comes a big low on a loss. So I think that's the only time, or the only part of, I think it is a must win, or at least a draw. But yeah, no, I'm excited, and to be honest, anybody I talk to, there's massive buzz around the squad and the direction that we're going. And if we can get to the World Cup, or at least get the 3 points on Saturday, take that into Armenia, that buzz will continue. So away to Armenia is going to be difficult, but I have a feeling, to be honest, at home to Hungary is a bit more difficult, and if we can get past this hurdle, it'll just make it better than coming in, was it Tuesday for Armenia?
Yeah.
You're a season ticket holder also, and you've put yourself through a lot of misery, so how are you feeling?
Exactly that. And I know I wasn't around like in the kind of the actual glory days of like Ireland, when we're like kind of top ranked team in Europe, but I suppose looking back at the time that I grew up at, watching Ireland, those actually were the glory days, and we didn't even realise that qualifying for Euros under Martin O'Neill and under Trapattoni, you'd snap your hand off to get a qualification to any tournament these days, and what it would mean to go to a World Cup, and like, this is the reason why we have such a buzz about this game specifically, because this feels like the one that don't want to overstate it, but this is what the kind of qualification campaign hinges on, really. If we lose this one, we've got a real uphill battle. But I definitely feel what you were kind of touching on there about there being a bit more of a buy-in from fans these days, because I know so many friends who just kind of drifted away from the Irish national team, like didn't care, didn't want to know if they're on TV, wouldn't watch it just because of how bad it's been for so long. And I think like fans were behind Stephen Kenny at the time, but it did feel a bit more forced, a bit more manufactured. Whereas now people actually can see a vision for the team, see that we're going in the right direction, that we're on an uphill trajectory. And hopefully this is where the kind of rubber meets the road, and that we actually start putting, results together on the way to a qualification to a major tournament. So with that, I'll move on to our predictions. Fergal, I'll start with you. Ireland against Hungary in the Aviva Stadium on Saturday. What do you think?
3-1 Ireland.
3-1 Ireland.
3-1 Ireland.
Any goal scorers with that?
I'd say Evan Ferguson to nick at least one, and I'd say one of the centre backs, to be honest, from a corner. That's the third goal's up, but I just 3-1 is what I'm feeling.
Paul?
I'm not gonna go that optimistic. My heart says, no, sorry, my head says 1-1. No, yeah, but my heart's saying 1-0. So I'm gonna go with my heart, and I'm gonna say 1-0 to Ireland. Evan to score.
Yeah. I like a redo of our friendly a couple of years ago. I think 2-1 Ireland. I think we'll go 2-0 up, then nick one, and then there'll be a nervy finish to the match. And I think I will go Evan Ferguson as well. And do you know what? Liam Scales to replicate his header against Finland in a serious qualification match this time around. But
just before you end though, do you think that we have a bit of a psychological advantage winning that friendly in the manner that we did? Obviously had the Aviva as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was probably, like, I'm sure I'm missing something here, but that was probably our last win against what was like a decent level of opposition. Like, I know Finland, you could maybe consider that. But Hungary are like serious caliber.
They
European
qualified
team.
for the Euros, yeah. That was their warm up match.
Exactly, yeah. So that was probably our last like proper win. So I'd say it would give us like that kind of psychological edge, and also the fact that it is in the Aviva. You mentioned it being a sellout. I'm sure, fingers crossed anyway, that will be an absolute cauldron to start the match anyway. Because I think we've touched on it a couple of times here on Irish Football Fan TV. Like, the main factor with the Aviva, we need to bring it back to being that home field advantage that it used to be.
Cauldron. It used to be like a really intimidating place that, any team, even a top team, used to hate coming to play against us.
Yeah.
And we had players that would die for the badge, or die for the jersey, or whatever you want to call it. And I think that we've got some of those players back now, So, yeah, look, I just hope we win.
Absolutely. And just in the lead up to this match, Paul, you're going to be doing an opposition preview. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I'm doing it with the Hungarian football podcast tomorrow at some stage. So I'll go out after this. So yeah, they'll get a proper rundown on the Hungary team, and it's just a good insight into kind of anything that we may miss, or it might be an up and coming player that we don't know about, and who they're playing for, and all that sort of stuff. Because we usually get quite good insights, and then, funny enough, usually that person who they highlight tends to be the one who scores the goal to break our hearts. So I'm hoping there's not one tomorrow. And yeah, we obviously had other content as well going out between the press conferences, starting 11 show I'll have out on Friday as well, and yeah, more press conferences then on Friday for the matchday -1. So yeah,
absolutely. So keep your eyes out for that. Fergal, thanks a million for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Listen, thanks a million for watching. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.